A couple of days ago, we looked at this wonderful beast, the Maxan iCraft RTX 3080, and I was blown away by the performance of this specific card, by the price, by the cooling solution, and everything else. I think it's the #1 buy at the moment. But now it's time to look at this one. Hey guys, welcome back to our House and Says channel. My name is Ivan, and today we're looking at the Yeston RTX 3080 or the Yeston Sakura or the Yeston Waifu version. A lot of people have requested to look at this card. A lot of people have questions. Is this card good enough? Is this card good to buy? Since now we have a tons of promotions that we can benefit and get RTX 3080 for retail or way below retail in the case of this card and in the case of the Maxan RTX 3080 as well. Now I went ahead and bought the Maxan iCraft and the Yeston RTX 3080 from Newegg with my own money so I can show it to you guys, help the community, and see what kind of expectations we can have from these both cards. You guys see the previous video, the Maxan RTX 3080 was absolutely outstanding. Now it's time to open this one and see what's inside the box. And I have to tell you, this is an unusual box, very stylized with a very interesting design, very interesting attention to detail. And if you're looking for something different that doesn't look like a standard GPU, this might be a very good choice for you. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead right into the unboxing. We're gonna check out the installation. We're gonna look at the game performance, see the temperatures, noise, and at the end, of course, we're gonna talk about it in the conclusion. The Yeston RTX 3080, pretty far cry from regular style boxes. If you guys remember, this is kind of like what normal RTX 3080 boxes look like. But Yeston went out to a different route and created a whole full waifu experience, even with the box, with the art on it. They spent some time designing this box and the way it's done. There's a clear cover that sits on top of it, and if I slide it out, you'll see this is where the clear cover is with the little bow and all the other information. And then when you're looking at the bottom, this is the same exact art that it's on the back plate of the card. You can clearly see it from the pictures. But before I go to the unboxing, this is what actually came with this Yeston card. An oversized mouse pad. Unfortunately, this one is for AMD Radeon and it says AMD Radeon on it. But still, this is I think $50, which they send you for free, plus the $200 card that I got. So this card is again an outstanding deal. Quick look on the box. We have some things written on the back, what they have done with the card, and then let's go ahead and open it. So the box doesn't open fully, but kind of reveals, again, interesting graphics on the inside of the lid. We have insulation foam right here with the company name, of course, Yeston. We have some cute stickers with the Waifu team. For those of you that care, you can stick it on your case. Personally, I'm not going to do that. And then just like the other one we looked a few days ago, we have a little compartment here that has the RGB extension cable right here, because we have addressable RGB on the fans of the Yeston, and this is a good addition, I guess, for those that really want to control it, because with the Maxan you can't really control easily or at all the RGB. We have a little card here, has warranty, 3 years warranty. Now hopefully I will never have to use it, because I'm assuming if you want to benefit of the 3 years warranty, you're gonna have to send it all the way to China, to Yeston, and I'm not going to do that. So that's pretty much it. Nothing else inside the box. So here's the card. I'm pretty familiar with their cooling solution. If you guys seen some of other channels' videos on Radeon versions of this card, they use that specific team and this specific cooling solution across multiple models. So I guess we can start by looking at it. I think this card looks absolutely stunning. And for me, one of the major reasons to buy this card is just to have a unique look. Obviously, many manufacturers, AIBs, are sticking to more classic look, more muted, more toned down look, but Yeston are going all the way out with these kind of designs, which I really like, because it's something different and something unique. And if you're building similar themed computer or all white build, this is a good option to make your computer stand out. Okay, so the Sakura cooling solution, this is exactly what we've seen on the Radeon versions. Like I said, the 6800, 6800 XT. We have 3 fans on the top. Initially, I was a little bit skeptical about this shroud covering a large portion of the fans, but we've seen some other reviews on that specific cooling solution, so this actually performs pretty well. And one of the biggest things over here is not only they have creating this kind of theme, but we are having a white PCB, you will see it here, and a white backplate, which again, that costs money. And these kind of details are something that we normally don't see from many companies these days. Again, we have the plug covers over here, anti-dust covers, very appreciated by me. I love having these. And if I flip it around, this is the backplate. You'll see it's exactly the same art as we have on the box, exactly the same art we have on that mouse pad. So we have the Waifu theme right here, exposed backside of where the die is of the chip. And just like on the Maxan, the backplate is metal, but it's extending over the PCB. So the 2x8 pins are recessed further in, so you might have a little problem plugging in depending on your cables you have. Personally, I didn't have much of an issues here. You can kind of see the cooling solution they've chose. On the back, we have a metal plate over here as well. And you see that these two screws, that can kind of help you for a brace. If you have an additional card GPU brace that you can screw in, and that way you handle the sag a little bit. Although this card is not as heavy as I was expecting it to be. Here is our RGB or addressable RGB header that we can use with the extension cable or hook it up to the motherboard, and that way we can address it all. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heat pipes only here instead of the 6 we saw on the Maxan. So I'm interested to see how they're going to compare to each other. Definitely the Maxan felt beefier, thicker, definitely performed amazing, but I'll see the difference between two of them when I plug them in the same environment and see how the temperatures and the noise go by. Again, you're gonna see where the PCB is ending, the rest of it is not, and I just wish that the Waifu art was a little bit this way so they can leave us a cutout pass-through. But if you saw my latest review, as I keep referencing the Maxan, that was not a factor and the temperatures were extremely low. The whole radiator seems slimmer, maybe a whole centimeter slimmer than the one on the Maxan. And you know what? Why don't we put them next to each other? Here is the size difference. The Maxan is longer by about centimeter and a half. Also, the radiator is a lot thicker. You will see maybe, again, centimeter to a centimeter and a half. We have a slimmer profile here. This is a full 3-slot card design, where here we have 2.5. So those that have concerns about spacing, or maybe you're thinking about vertical mounting your GPU in some cases, maybe the Yeston is going to be a better performer in these kind of situations. But let me take the Maxan out of the way. So this is definitely lighter than the Maxan. What else I can see here? We have about 2mm thick thermal pads. You can clearly see them right here for the memory, compared to the one on the Maxan, which was about 1mm. We're talking about 2mm here. Again, we have a cover for the PCI Express slot, which is great to see. And that white PCB, they didn't have to do this, but they went out of their way, spent some money, and made the color match the overall theme of the card, which is amazing. No vapor chamber that I can see, but more of a direct contact on that cooling solution. Very, very similar to the one on the Maxan. No dual bias here as well. It's worth mentioning, but again, for me, it really doesn't matter. Overall, it looks very, very nice. I think if you're going for this card instead of the other one, you're probably gonna go for the look. You're probably gonna go for the overall theme. Because this one is more classic looking, more muted, despite the RGB and everything else, versus something completely unique. And talking about unique, this one advertises a scent, and I can definitely smell it and feel it. It's not overwhelming. It's not something you're gonna immediately get hit by. It's very muted, maybe because it was produced quite a while back and that scent has vanished. But it's something worth mentioning as well, as they advertise it on the website and everywhere else. Also, you will notice immediately that the 3 fans are smaller than the ones on Maxan. They're smaller than some of other cards I've seen, and let me go ahead and try to measure them, see what exactly the size of these fans are. So here we're talking about 80mm fans versus the 90mm fans on the Maxan and some other GPUs that I have. Consider that as maybe a negative if the cooling solution is not as quiet as the one on the other GPUs, or not performing as well as the other ones. But again, if you have an adequate cooling solution inside your case, that shouldn't be that big of a problem. Again, I'm gonna have a full tear down on this graphics card as well and see what kind of components they used further down the line. But for now, I'm pretty impressed with what they've created. I'm gonna throw it inside the same Cooler Master Box case that I have my almond transplant in, because I wanna test it with the exact same conditions that I did the testing for the Maxan, and see what the temperatures are gonna be, and also what kind of noise, if I'm gonna be bothered more about the noise of this card. Let's go ahead and pop it into the computer and we'll see how it performs. And of course, at the end, we're gonna talk about it in the conclusion.
Studying the macula for centuries. If they can't, I don't know who can.
Lord, protect him. Let's ask around. Good. That's a start.
I should have known. Of course he doesn't go by his orders title publicly.
We came by the forest earlier. It's somewhere around this marketplace. The arena district.
That's a lot of houses.
How are we going to find him?
There's mischief in the air. I can feel it. Yes.
All right, conclusion time. And what do I think about the Yeston RTX 3080, Yeston Sakura, the Waifu edition? Well, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. Not because of the card look, feel, build quality, or anything else, just because the performance is not on par with this amazing card, the Maxon iCraft RTX 3080. I think not only this has the best price at the moment, but the performance of this card is absolutely outstanding across the board. And I'm super amazed that company like Maxon can deliver this kind of amazing product without being very known, without being world known, and people had so many doubts about them. But now I can tell you right away, after you've seen the temperatures, if you've seen the performance, this card is so much better. This card, if you're going for pure performance, the Maxon is much better than the Yeston. We have 7 to 8 degrees lower temperature on the core, almost 10 degrees lower on the hotspot. The memory runs at the exact same temperature as the Yeston, but these higher temps on the core and the hotspot are definitely concerning to me, considering this is a brand new card and should have fresh paste and all that stuff. So that might be actually a prime candidate for me to really open it, upgrade the thermal paste, upgrade the thermal pads, and see if we can improve some of those things. Of course, I'm not expecting miracles because the cooling solution on the Maxon is much more potent. We have beefier radiator. This is significantly thicker. We have 90mm fans where we have only 80mm on the Yeston. And of course, these 80mm fans are producing a lot more noise, especially when you're gaming. Compared to this one, compared to some of my other cards, the EVGA, even compared to the FE edition, which only has 2 fans. And I have to tell you, even when I'm gaming with my headphones on, I can still hear them. They're ramping up quite rapidly. They're going pretty high. You see the RPMs are around 2700, 2800 RPMs. This is a lot compared to the 2200 RPMs we're getting on the Maxon and some of the other AIBs I've seen out there. So in order for the card to stay cooler relatively, these 80mm fans have to ramp up pretty high. Now on the flip side, there's a positive if you care about idle noise. The Yeston has a fan off feature, which means the fans will not spin at all until you start gaming or you start doing something demanding where the temperatures go above 50 C. But if you're just idling, they're not spinning, where the Maxon are spinning at around 1200, 1300 RPMs, which are unaudible, but the card stays extremely cool. So what else I can say? The perfume that is emitting out of the card, it's not super strong. It's not something that's going to fill your room with it. It's not going to be overpowering or overbearing. It's barely noticeable. It doesn't bother me at all. Of course, that depends on how sensitive your nose is. Maybe mine is not that sensitive, but it is what it is. The rest of it, I think it's pretty good for the price. I think for the price of $760 minus the $200 that I got and the mouse pad, this card is still a very good buy, and especially if you are going for this kind of build with a Waifu look, or if you're going for a completely white build, this one can be a great option for you, and for something that it's unique, something that it's different. If you're going for the look, definitely this is the card to go. If you're going for pure performance, just stick with the Maxon iCraft. I think for $699 minus $175 that I got it, this is the deal of the year, because this card is outperforming a lot of cards that cost almost twice the money, and I paid almost twice the money over the year. What the Yeston reminds me of as a performer is the RTX 3080 from HP. After all my modifications and everything else, I finally made it to a point where is comfortably performing at some level that I am happy with. And considering how bad this card was at the beginning, now it's the same level of the Yeston out of the box. So even the cooling solution kind of reminds me of it. The Yeston has one less pipe than the Maxon. So yeah, maybe that's contributing as well. But the radiator itself, it's about centimeter and a half slimmer. So that's another negative right there. Bottom line, at the end of the day, if you're looking for pure performance, go for the Maxon. If you're going for the look and you are willing to sacrifice some temperatures just to build something really unique, something beautiful and something different than anybody else, go for the Yeston. Neither one of those cards will break the bank. Neither one of those cards are bad at all. I like them both. They're both running kind of stock BIOSes. This one is slightly altered with a higher clocks, and considering this one is clocked higher, it still performs much cooler, so you have to factor that as well. But here we have a completely stock everything minus the beautiful PCB, the beautiful shroud, the beautiful backplate. Everything is very unique and very different. So I'm pretty happy with both cards. I'm going to use them in different builds and they're going to look great. I'm going to show you another complete white build that I'm doing in a case that was sent to me recently for a review. And I'm pretty excited about this one because I think the Yeston is going to fit perfectly in that all white build. That's pretty much it, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the link in the description if you want to support the channel directly to bring you videos like this regularly. It helps me tremendously. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.